You always feel the need to justify relationships by doing these things. And if you don't do these things, you get into the cycle of guilt and fear. If you just live totally with deep clarity of the whole play of society, you will never be gripped by such compulsions. You can live with total fulfillment and still not lose out on any love in relationships. We have discussed this while talking about the Anahata Chakra. The fear of physical separation is always because of a feeling of guilt with respect to that relationship. If you live totally, not with a transaction type of relationship, but with just pure loving energy towards the other, there will be no room for guilt or fear. Even if the person passes away, you will continue to feel love towards him or her. That's all. Never fear of any separation. Even when you are living with the person, try to live with more clarity and awareness. Most often, relationships suffer because of insecurity and the lingering fear of losing one another. If you deeply analyze fear in any relationship, you'll understand that because our relationships are just transactions of some sort, this fear is there. Between a husband and wife, there is fear that the other may start looking outside of marriage. Between mother and son, there is the fear that the son may start paying more attention to his wife instead of the mother. Between the father and son, there is the fear that the father may not pass on the inheritance to his son, or the son may not keep up the family prestige. Like this, in any relationship, there is a core expectation which needs to be satisfied and guarded, and this gives rise to fear. I tell you, you can never satisfy any relationship totally. Anyone who has tried to please their whole family will only become dropouts. If a relationship is based on pure love, with no underlying purpose, the kind of love that we talked during the Anahata Chakra, there will be no fear element at all. You don't know what liberation it is when you can move from fear to love. Fear is always imprisoning. Love is always liberating. But unless society instills fear into you, you will not listen to it. And so it instills fear in you through all possible means. Through insecurity, through rules, regulations, through worship and whatnot. Society tries to make saints out of you. Saints who fear existence and everything all the time. I am not here to make saints out of you. I am here to make you blissful. When you are blissful, you will be full of life, alive and alert. Anyhow, fear is what takes the form of jealousy also in our relationships. Fear is the underlying emotion for most of our actions and emotions. Jealousy, anger, greed, all these emotions are rooted in fear. But we are not aware of this. We don't know that fear is the causative factor for all these. That is the problem. That is why we continue to be in the dark as far as the behavioral patterns are concerned. That is why relationships turn out to be traumatic. Understand, fear and love can never coexist. If there is pure love in a relationship, there can never be fear. If there is fear, there can never be pure love. Be very clear. There is some vested interest in the relationship. There is some purpose, some objective, some expectation of security or greed or returns in the relationship. That is why fear sets in. We look for security in every relationship. We need some security to settle down with comfortably. This is actually a kind of imprisonment that we enjoy. People talk of freedom, but I tell you, they are so afraid of it. They like only imprisonment. In the comfortable cushioning effect of imprisonment, they think they are free. A small story. A small girl asked her father one day, "Dad, what is the meaning of the word guaranteed?" So the father replied, "It means that something is made well and it will last for a long time." That night before going to sleep, the girl called out to her father, "Good night, guaranteed father." So all of us look for security continuously in our lives. But we say that we are looking for freedom. If we are really looking for freedom, why are we looking for security? Why fear? As long as you have fear in you, you will look for security. Till then, you can only delude yourself by saying that you want freedom. A master is one who will throw you upon the utter insecurity of life. He is the only one who gives you complete freedom. That is why with him you feel insecure, you feel afraid. Freedom creates fear. You will never feel utterly insecure in your other relationships because there is always some push or pull of greed, of fear, of anger, and that keeps you well settled in the familiar patterns of relationships. But with the master, you are totally free, so you become afraid. A small story. A man was in prison for 20 years. On the day of his release, he appeared very worried and tense. His friend in the prison asked him, "What has happened to you? Why are you so worried?" The man replied, "I am afraid. What will I do when I go out?" The prison has created such a solid pattern of security for the man that he does not know what he will do when he goes out. This is the danger of getting caught in patterns and security. A master will never offer you the security you are looking for. He will never offer you the patterns you are looking for. When you don't get the security you are looking for, you will grow with deep centering within yourself. You will grow fearlessly because you know there is nothing to lose. And when you know there is nothing to lose, you have no fear. To show you that there is nothing to lose, the master throws you upon utter insecurity. Out of a deep compassion for you, out of deep concern for your growth, he doesn't offer you security. When you don't find the mundane security, you will find God. You will find existence. All your fears are because you don't clearly know that there is nothing to lose. Just one encounter with near death can show you that there is nothing to lose and that all your fears are baseless. The Master simply makes you understand this in his own way. So don't try to escape from the Master. Understand that he is here only to show you what you actually are. Your inherent nature is fearlessness. Over years, you have been instilled with fear. The Master tries to break the layers of conditioning that you have taken upon yourself over years. That's all. If you just allow him to work upon you with trust and love, you will see yourself transform in front of your own eyes. Let me tell you a small story about a Swami whom I was acquainted with. The Swami used to have a number of clocks in his room, and each of the clocks would show a different time. I asked him about it one day. He replied, "Time is not my master. I am the master. Whatever time I want it to be, I simply choose the time from that particular clock." The Swami had already predicted that he would be leaving his body on a particular day and time. On the night before his death, the Swami asked all his disciples to gather around him and sing hymns. One of the singers was somewhat arrogant about his musical abilities. He never sang on this occasion. As was the custom, the Swami wrote something on a piece of paper and passed it on to him. The disciple was flattered, thinking it was a request for a particular song. But when he opened the note,